Passionate, inspirational, exhilarating, heroic and entertaining. These are all words that have been used to describe the former World Footballer of the Year, who is arguably the best player ever to come out of France. His brilliant ball control, incredible vision, precise passing and ability to read the game are never likely to be matched. On the field, he was a general, leading his side by example through a perfect cross or a sizzling strike. He was never far away from the action. Off the pitch, he has been just as impressive. Tireless in his charity work for those less fortunate, he is also a devoted family man. He is Zinedine Zidane, and this is his story. Zinedine Zidane, or Zizou as he's affectionately known to fans around the world, enjoyed the kind of epic career that even the best Hollywood scriptwriter would have been pushed to dream up. It bore all the hallmarks of a big screen blockbuster. The tough start, the battle through adversity, the euphoric World Cup victory, the devastating losses that followed, and the remarkable comeback with a fairy tale finish. Well, almost. Zidane's incredible journey began in Les Castellans, one of the poorest immigrant quarters of the French city Marseille. Born to Algerian parents, young Zidane was a natural. Honing his skills in the dimly lit alleyways for hours each day, it soon became clear that he was destined for something special. Many believed that it was Zidane's upbringing in this rough neighborhood that furnished him with the mental toughness to handle the pressures faced by elite footballers. At an early age, he joined US Saint-Henri, a local club in Les Castellans, but it wasn't until he was scouted to Bordeaux that his talent really started to show itself. During his 4-year stint at Bordeaux, Zidane was selected and received his first cap for Les Bleus, the French national team. Coming on as a substitute in the 63rd minute of a friendly against the Czech Republic on the 17th of August 1994, Zidane thrilled the crowd by scoring 2 second-half goals to help France erase a 2-0 deficit and salvage a tie. His performances, domestically and internationally, started to generate a lot of conversation around the proverbial water cooler, impressing his countrymen, players, managers and scouts all over the globe with his playmaking and uncanny ability to lift his game when required. It wouldn't be long before the big clubs of Europe came after him. In the end, it was Champions League winners and Italian super club Juventus who snatched up the 24-year-old for a mere £3 million. Zidane had already made an impressive start to his football career, playing solid football for Les Bleus and going on to sign with Italy's most successful football club. One could forgive a young player for feeling pretty satisfied with the shape his career was taking. These achievements, however, were just the beginning of Zizou's remarkable journey. Juventus immediately recognized the attacking midfielder's potential. With the help of Zidane's contribution, Juventus won the 1996-97 Scudetto and the Intercontinental Cup with a 1-0 win over River Plate. In the following seasons, Zidane led Juventus to the 1997 and 1998 UEFA Champions League final. In 3 short years, he went from being a good player with potential to being one of the best players in the world. Now that he had proved his remarkable talent in domestic leagues, especially with Juventus, it was time to prove his ability against the best opposition the world had to offer. That chance presented itself in the shape of the 1998 FIFA World Cup. That year, the World Cup competition was being hosted by France for the first time in 60 years, And despite placing their faith in their beloved Les Bleus, the home fans' hopes of World Cup success seemed little more than pipe dreams. European powerhouse Germany were favourites to win the Cup, with defending champions Brazil running a close second. Despite its status as the host nation, France wasn't even seeded in the top 10, and bookmakers predicted they would finish an unlucky 13th. Les Bleus were extremely lucky to find themselves in Group C. With two less experienced teams, South Africa and Saudi Arabia, in the group, their only real competition looked to be Denmark. This gave not only France but also Zidane the perfect opportunity to ease into the competition. However, no one could have predicted the final outcome. France dominated Group C, finishing on top of their group undefeated after scoring 9 goals and conceding just the one. Leading Les Bleus in through the midfield, Zidane needed little encouragement to show off his prodigious talent. After a 2-game suspension, he returned to face Italy in the quarter-final, and at a crucial stage in the match, manager Aim Jacquet allegedly took him aside for a pep talk that roughly translated as, "Zizou, the French team is not you, and you don't represent the French team. Think hard about those words," he warned, before adding, "but it's you who can make us win." And win they did. His mesmerising movements helped set up wins over Italy in the quarters and then Croatia in the semi-finals. By then, the buzz surrounding Zidane had become a deafening roar, and Zizou was on the verge of becoming a national hero. With the scene set for a tense, colossal final between the reigning champions Brazil and hometown favourites France, the whole world tuned in, expecting the Brazilians to emerge as victors. Once again, Zidane had other ideas. Scoring 2 remarkable goals in the first half to set up a 3-0 whitewash over the much-fancied Brazilians, Zidane had almost single-handedly won his country its first ever World Cup. Not only had he become a national hero, the whole world was chanting his name and ranking him amongst the international greats of his era. In the lead-up to the clash, it was the Brazilian player Ronaldo who had been tipped to become the star of the final. However, despite enjoying a remarkable tournament and winning the Golden Ball for Best Player, Ronaldo struggled in the big game. Holding aloft the World Cup trophy was the highlight of an incredible year for Zinedine Zidane. 1998 also saw Juventus finishing on top of Serie A. In the UEFA Champions League, they finished a very respectable second to the all-conquering Real Madrid. Not surprisingly, Zidane ended the year with a cabinet full of trophies and awards. As well as being named FIFA World Player of the Year, he took out the European Footballer of the Year title. He also made it on to the FIFA All-Star team for his performances in the World Cup, despite having missed 2 games due to suspension. With fans chanting his name, women chasing him down the street, and children trying to emulate his slick ball skills on football pitches all over the world, Zidane could have sat back and enjoyed the fruits of his success. Many footballers would have been content in the knowledge that their brilliance had almost single-handedly carried their team and country to World Cup glory. Not Zinedine Zidane. Winning the World Cup had really taken the edge off his hunger. While commentators were celebrating his brilliance, he still had a lot to prove to his harshest critic, himself. The euphoria of the World Cup had barely worn off before he was preparing his next opportunity to show the world how good he really was. The 11th UEFA European Football Championship, or Euro 2000 as it's more commonly known, was co-hosted by Belgium and the Netherlands. Netherlands were favourite for the event, and for good reason. Playing in their home country in career best form, it would take an excellent team to beat them. Although they hadn't won a major tournament for over a decade, their fans were more than confident about their team's current good form and began celebrating a little prematurely. Since their World Cup victory 2 years before, both France and Zidane had continued to impress, and they qualified for the finals of Euro 2000 with ease. The Dutch were favourites for the tournament, but the giant-killing Les Bleus weren't too far away in the minds of fans and their competitors. Grouped in a similar format to the World Cup finals, France found themselves in Group D, where they faced solid competition, including the Netherlands. France lost against the home side in their final group match. However, they still made it through to the quarter-finals. Zidane was fit and on top form, and fans, teammates and coaches alike would have been happy to see their star player play up to his usual standard. However, Zidane wasn't about to rest on his laurels. Obsessed with improving, he trained tirelessly to hone his craft. At the time, Zizou's closest competition in the world's best player ratings was Ronaldo. In fact, the Brazilian's phenomenal goal-scoring ability often gave him the edge. However, Ronaldo had been out of action for some time after requiring knee surgery on a ruptured tendon. This left Zizou as the world's undisputed top player. Media, fans and opposing players wanted to learn more about the humble French midfielder, and with all the attention came greater pressure. After a steady start to Euro 2000, Zidane, as he so often did, picked up the tempo for the quarter and semi-finals. In France's clash against Spain, Zidane scored his first goal for the tournament and then scored his second from a penalty late in extra time against a much improved Portugal to catapult France to yet another final. Despite scoring 2 crucial goals at critical stages of the tournament, some commentators and football journalists would persist in criticising him for the lack of goals to his name. Not only did they argue that a player of his calibre should be finding the back of the net more regularly, they also blamed him for Juventus's failure to win the championship. In his defence, however, many observers argued that Zidane's extraordinary talent lay in setting up goals for others, not scoring his own. In Euro 2000, he made more devastating slalom dribbles than Marc Overmars, and more decisive crosses than Portugal's Luís Figo. His presence in the midfield not only generated chances from his own boots, but inspired those around him to follow his lead. France continued their impressive run, demonstrating a style of football so pleasing to the eye that even opposing fans could enjoy them. Having made it through to the final of Euro 2000, they prepared to meet Italy. With a more defensive game style than the French, the Italians would score often on the counter-attack. Throughout the whole tournament, the Italians had conceded only 2 goals, and if France were to break through their wall of resistance, it would be Zidane who would find their weak spot. Playing alongside many of the Italian national team members on a weekly basis at Juventus, Zidane, who had just turned 28, knew a lot more about the Italians' game style than most. It was the Italians he had to thank for his elite physical fitness and his calm and systematic approach to the big games. The clash against Italy to crown Europe's best in the final of Euro 2000 was not only a battle between 2 brilliant teams, it was a duel between pupil and master. The final, which billed as the best climax to the best international tournament the world had seen, did not disappoint. After trailing 1-0 for almost 40 minutes and with only 1 minute of injury time